For Health Connection Radio, I'm your host, Jay Foster. Today we want to talk about the very important role that antioxidant nutrients can play in the prevention of Alzheimer's disease. And there's a lot of good scientific literature about this. So if you go to PubMed, pubmed.gov is the service of the National Library of Medicine, the National Institute of Health. You go there at pubmed.gov, you can type in search terms, just like Google has a search engine. This does also. And if you typed in Alzheimer's and antioxidants today, which is August 17th, 2017, there were 97 articles that say that antioxidant nutrients, including vitamin E and vitamin C, may prevent Alzheimer's disease. Okay, 97 articles. I think that's, if there were 7 good articles, I think that was good. There's 97 articles. I lied. There's 897 articles as of today when you type in Alzheimer's and antioxidant, showing some kind of relationship there. 897 articles. How many of those has your neurologist read before they may have recommended or not recommended nutrients or medications? And one more fib, it's not 97, it's not 897. As of today at PubMed, there are 5,897 articles when you type in antioxidant and Alzheimer's disease, showing there's some kind of relationship. I mean, even if there were 10 good studies in that, we're talking 5,800, almost 6,000 articles. Why aren't we being told about this? And one of the ones that I like to talk about a lot is this article that wasn't published in a hippie health food store journal, as I often say. It was in the Archives of Neurology, this article I'm about ready to tell you about. And the article said, reduced risk of Alzheimer's disease in users of antioxidant nutrients like C and vitamin E. So this was written up in 2004, Archives of Neurology in 2004. The conclusions of the abstract says that the use of vitamin E and vitamin C in combination is associated with reduced prevalence and incidence of Alzheimer's disease. Antioxidant supplements merit further study as agents for the primary prevention of Alzheimer's disease. Now, were they using scary doses of nutrients? No. Well, I mean, we recommend most adults should take a buffered form of vitamin C, about 1,000 milligrams a day. In this study, they gave them 500 milligrams of vitamin C and 400 IUs of vitamin E. Both were reasonable doses. You know, those are not scary, high-dose nutrients that could hurt you. 500 C and 400 E. Now, did it reduce the risk of getting Alzheimer's by 10%? 10%? That's not bad. For a couple of cheap vitamins, 25%? That'd be really good. Drop it by 25%. Can you imagine? What about 50%? What if taking vitamin C and vitamin E today in those reasonable dosages gave you a 50% less chance of developing Alzheimer's disease? Don't you think that's worthwhile knowing? Well, it wasn't 10%, it wasn't 25%, it wasn't 50%. In this study published in the Archives of Neurology, which is published by the American Medical Association and read by most neurologists, I would hope, by taking vitamin C at 500 milligrams a day and vitamin E at 400 units IUs per day, gave them a 78% reduced risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. 78%. Now, why weren't we told this in 2004? They should have been on the news that night with it. What's the harm of taking these kind of nutrients? There is no harm. I've talked to people whose parents and loved ones developed Alzheimer's in the last 10 years, and they wish they knew about this 13 years ago. They could have been doing something. Remember, there's over 5,800 articles that say the same thing, that antioxidants may prevent Alzheimer's disease. Why haven't we been told this before? Well, it doesn't sell. I mean, vitamins are cheap and they don't sell medicines. How about this one? Oxidative damage and progression to Alzheimer's disease in patients with mild cognitive impairment. This is written up in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease in June of 2010. Those who developed Alzheimer's disease were found to have significant decrease in the cellular antioxidant defenses. The decrease in vitamin E was associated with deteriorating cognitive function. That E and C, again, we see this all the time that together. High plasma levels of vitamin E in the blood reduced Alzheimer's disease risk in advanced age. Same journal in 2010. They studied 232 dementia-free subjects. They weren't having Alzheimer's, aged 80 years or older, and they were followed up to 6 years. The ones that had the highest vitamin E in their blood were found to have a reduced risk of developing Alzheimer's disease as opposed to the ones who didn't have enough vitamin E in their blood. Dietary antioxidants and long-term risk of dementia. Again, Archives of Neurology in July of 2010. Higher intake of vitamin E at baseline was associated with lower long-term risk of dementia. So vitamin E at 400 units a day and vitamin C at, we think, 1,000 milligrams a day, there's no downside to taking those. You got to be a little careful with vitamin E if you're on a lot of blood thinners, but there's really no downside. If you can't take that much vitamin E, if you can only take 200, then take double or triple the amount of vitamin C. And maybe resveratrol, like our 1,000 glasses of red wine formula. More information on our programs, where we test you to see which nutrients you need to prevent conditions, why you might have certain symptoms. We've been doing this for 35 years at Body Chemistry Associates. 1-800-CHEMIST for more information on what we do. 1-800-243-6478. You can follow us on Facebook at Body Chemistry Associates and also on the web at 1-800-CHEMIST.com. Jay Foster and Health Connection Radio. Be back with another topic soon.